this is Managing Your References with Mendeley. All right. So just to give you a little bit of an idea about how Menti works, let us know which college, faculty, or school you're connected to. So pop your responses into the Menti. And again, if you want that connection information, it's just at the very top here of each slide. You can join at menti.com and use the code 91831659. And once you've entered in your information, it will show up here. Excellent. Art. Rady, hi. Agriculture, engineering. Excellent. This is fantastic. We've got a nice broad range of people joining us today. Rady's getting bigger, so I'm assuming some of people from the health sciences are joining us today. Thanks for that. And what problem are you experiencing? Do you think that Mendeley is going to help you resolve? So it's, yes, the question says, why do you want to use Mendeley? But I'm more interested in what problems you're experiencing that you think Mendeley was going to help you out with. That will probably help me better kind of tailor this session to your needs. Really hard to keep track of 50 to 100 papers. Yes, absolutely. It is definitely difficult. Managing your references, it's always a challenge. Any other things that people feel comfortable sharing? Manage organizing articles for all the courses you teach. Yes. Yes, absolutely. I've helped a lot of faculty members dealing with citation management software to help make it easier for them to prepare for courses and to provide things like reading lists and that sort of thing. Already using Mendeley, looking to be more efficient while using this citation software. I'm going to be covering a lot of basics today that you may already be comfortable with, but I want to emphasize that you should book an appointment with a University of Manitoba librarian if you need something a little bit extra. All of us are really super familiar with this software, and we can certainly give you some tips from our perspective. And if you want to reach out to me directly, my contact information is at the back on the last slide, so you can always book an appointment with me if you'd like. Downloading the citation format from Google and organizing them according with the journal rules. So I'm assuming that you're talking about citation management styles and using specific styles. Absolutely, this will help you do that, definitely. Thanks for contributing. This is one of those first links that you can click on. This takes you to the Mendeley Researcher Workshop Library Guide. Again, I posted that in the chat, but you can just click on this. If you're having problems accessing it, if you can give me a thumbs down in the Menti, let me know and I will see if I can fix the link, or maybe I can pop the link into the chat again. Otherwise, you can follow along on that guide. To get there, this takes you through to the Mendeley Workshop Guide, and all of the steps and most of the images that you're going to see on this workshop are included on the pages of this guide. So you should, if you have questions afterwards, you should be able to find the answers on the guide. Excellent. Thanks for letting me know that you were able to get connected. Okay, so broadly written, the objectives for today were, whoops, for some reason it's not showing them. Learn the benefits of Mendeley as a citation management tool. Understand the layout and organizational tools in Mendeley. A lot of you seem to be more focused on the organization part, so I'll try and emphasize that. Import references using the Mendeley Web Importer, RIS files, and drag and drop. I might shorten a little bit how to get references in order to focus on how to organize things, but we'll see how my timing goes. And then learn to use the Mendeley Cite MS Word plugin for in-text citations and to create bibliographies. This is, I think, where the real strength of citation management software is. So citation managers in general, most of them can do things like save references so that those citations, if you're thinking about like a journal article, it's author, title, source, journal name, volume, issue, pages. If it's a book, it might include the publisher, the author, maybe even the chapter. So that's the reference or citation that I kind of use almost interchangeably. So if you see me doing that throughout the presentation, understand that they both, to me, mean the exact same thing. And PDFs, so those files that you get and download that have the article, journal articles on them, or if you're lucky enough to find an electronic book that allows you to download it itself in its entirety, those sorts of things are usually done in PDF format. Another version could be EPUB format, although most citation managers deal predominantly with PDF documents. The next thing that they allow you to do is organize your references in folders and groups, and we'll go over that a little bit today. Cite references in text using the citation style of your choice, and the emphasis here is on the citation style of your choice. So because you're from such a diverse group of disciplines, you're going to have different citation styles. Some will be using APA, some will be using Vancouver style, some will be using AMA. There's a whole bunch of different styles, Chicago, MLA. There's a ton out there. You shouldn't have to worry about where the italics is or what has to be underlined or whether or not something has to be indented. So citation managers can take care of that for you, which I think is fantastic. They also, more and more often, allow you to annotate your PDFs. And for me, when it comes to my research workflow, I'm interested in not only keeping track of the citations themselves, but what I think about them after I read them. So that information is something that you can do with most citation managers. A lot of them allow you to share references with colleagues or collaborators if you set up a specific group to share some of your citations with. And for Mendeley in particular, the thing that I find most interesting is that you can actually use the Mendeley Cite embedded within Microsoft 365 Word. So if you're accessing Word from your browser, you can embed Mendeley Cite as one of the apps that can connect to it and then use it within a browser environment. I've noticed that a lot more students are using Word not as a standalone computer software, but as something that's embedded within a browser window. So I like that Mendeley has that functionality. A little bit about Mendeley. There's a few parts to Mendeley. There's the desktop application. It requires a free account that you download and once you've created a free account, this allows you to sync across multiple devices. So if you're like me, you've got a tablet, you've got an iPhone or a laptop, or maybe you're accessing a desktop computer, or maybe you have multiple different devices. That free Mendeley account allows you to synchronize across all devices so that you can kind of carry your library no matter where you go. And that's, I think, fantastic. The two parts that this includes is the Mendeley Reference Manager, which is the desktop application that I'm going to be focusing on today. It's, again, a free download. The other part is the Mendeley website. So you can actually interact with Mendeley almost completely entirely from within your web browser by accessing the Mendeley website. You don't have to download and install the Mendeley Reference Manager. In terms of functionality, they're very, very similar, and I don't think you're missing anything out if you just use it within your browser. There's some really important tools that you have to be sure to download and install. The first one is the Mendeley Web Importer, and this is a browser plugin. This isn't automatically installed when you install the Mendeley software. You have to specify which browser, or open up a browser that you're in, and then you can then click on the download and download the web importer for each browser. If you look up here in my browser, this is my Mendeley Web Importer, and that's what it would end up looking like. I'm in Chrome, so if you're on Google Chrome, you will probably see something that looks like this, which is your extensions. And if your Mendeley is hidden and you don't see all the extensions that you want to see up here, you can click on your extensions, and then you can click the little pin icon, and it will allow you to pin your Mendeley Web Importer so that it then shows up right here as one of the first things that you see. Mendeley Cite for Word. If you have a Word desktop application installed on your computer and you've installed Mendeley, Mendeley Cite should be an automatic install for your Word. If it isn't, though, you can force the installation by clicking on this download link. All of this information is available on the Getting Started page of the Mendeley workshop. So all those links, if you don't have time to take care of it right now, then you can look at them later and do this if you think Mendeley is something that you want to pursue. So this particular image is giving you a bit of an overview of Mendeley, and it's more of an overview of Mendeley from my perspective, because it's the things that I think are most important about Mendeley and the things I use most often and the things I get asked about most often. So in the Mendeley window, for lack of a better word, you have a left panel, a center panel, and a right panel. This left panel contains all of your collections and groups. Okay, this is kind of like your organizational panel. It's the thing that helps you kind of organize your references and move them around a bit and find them. If you click on all references, it will give you a list of everything that's within your library. Okay, in this center panel, this is called your collection contents. All right, if you have a specific collection, and I'll be going over how to create those collections and get you to use them for organizing things. If you have a particular collection you're working with, you can click on that collection, and then the contents for that collection will appear in your panel. Okay. If you click on any one of the citations in this particular panel, it will then open up your right-hand panel. And this is your citation information. It's also known as metadata. So that's author, title, source, pagination, that sort of information shows up here for each of the citations that you click on. Okay. Now, something else that people don't often realize is that with that citation information, you can also click on this little tab next to it here and access any annotations you might have made for this citation. And I'll show you what that looks like in a second. The next most important things are how to add a citation manually from a file, although I don't think this is the easiest way to get content into Mendeley. At some point, you're probably going to have to add something in manually, and you need to know that add new allows you to do a whole bunch of things like that. Something else you will need to do is search your references to find a citation that you're interested in or that you remember. And you can also filter all of your references by authors or by tags you assign. So I don't know if you can see it. You've got a little tag thing down here for this particular citation information. I can add as many tags as I want. And they act pretty much like you would expect a hashtag to in social media. It helps you find things that are relevant on a particular topic. So you could assign something. One of my favorite ones to use is to follow up. And that way I know if I use the tag to follow up, if I click on that or if I go into my filter feature up here, then I can follow up on anything that needs following up on. So I like using that. So let's get into Mendeley. The first time, I'm on a Mac, so if you notice this down below, and you're on a PC, this won't be familiar to you. This is where my Mendeley Reference Manager resides, but however you open up your software, the first time you open it, you will see a login screen, and that's why you have to first create your account. So this is your Mendeley account. I use my University of Manitoba email. You don't have to. For Mendeley, you can use whatever you would like to use. Excuse me while I off screen just grab my password because I don't know about you. I always forget my passwords. There we go. Okay. If you're on a device that you are confident you're not sharing with someone else, you can just click Stay Signed In and it will automatically sign you in. So this is getting into my Mendeley Reference Manager. And from here, it will start loading all my references. So one of the first things I did was say that you can click on All References here in order to see everything in my library. This is everything in my library. Okay. I can click on a specific collection, and I'll show you how that works in a minute. And then I can click on a specific citation and get access to that information. And here I've got the tag filters, and this is applied to more than one collection. And I've also got some, not for that one. Does this one have annotations? Yes, that first one has annotations on it to give you an idea, just generally how this works. Okay, just going to close that, go back, and let's continue. Now, there are a number of different ways to get your references or citations into Mendeley. The one that I prefer most is the one that I will show you first. This is importing references using the Mendeley Web Importer, or like I said, it's this little thing up here, this little browser plugin up here. So all you have to do is locate the item to import using your web browser. If you can browse it, then you should be able to, and land on a page, so you should be able to import the citation for that. Once you found it, click on the Mendeley Web Importer, check the reference to see if more than one is present, and I'll show you what that looks like, and then select the collection if you want to from the My Library drop-down menu. I've got some examples here that I'm going to show you how this works because I think actions kind of speak louder than words here. So this first one I'm going to show you is how to use the Mendeley Web Importer with Kozak. So all these examples are all about how to write. So if you notice a theme, it will give you some information. You'll notice for some that Mendeley will try and be helpful and have a little pop-up sticking out the side here. I've got something covering it up. If you don't have that, it doesn't matter. I'm on this page, and now if I click on Mendeley Cite, it's going to prompt me to sign in. I'm just going to sign myself in. And the first time you open up your browser, it should prompt you to do that. Now here, what it's doing is it's found more than one citation on the page. If I look here, the one that I'm interested in then, though, is academic writing and how to learn how to write. So that's this first one. But it looks like this may be a reference further down on the page somewhere. I'm not interested in grabbing that one. I want this specific one. And I'm just going to click Add. I can be specific about which part of my library I want to add it to, if I want to add it to a particular collection. But right now, I'm just going to show you how to add. So just click Add. Okay. Moving on to the next one. So what should be happening, this is also a common issue I get with Mendeley. I was hoping there would be some magical fix I didn't know about in this session. Oh my goodness. Okay, so here's what I think is going on. I have a lot of different plugins that could be interfering. Oddly enough, one plugin that can sometimes interfere with Mendeley is the Lean Library plugin. So if you have that installed, you might want to remove it and then get the Mendeley plugin to work and then reinstall Lean Library, and that should then work. So we have found that if you install Mendeley after Lean Library, then for some reason it doesn't work. So install the Mendeley Web Importer first, and then install Lean Library. So that could also be what's happening in my case with that. So give that a shot, okay? Let's move on to the next thing. Okay, so importing references or dragging and dropping PDFs. Now, most of you probably already have a bunch of folders that have references in them. I know I certainly do, although less so now that I'm regularly using a citation manager. You can literally open up the folder with the references or with those PDFs and drag them and drop them into the center of Mendeley. So I'm going to give that a shot and see if I can get that to work today. So Mendeley, I'm going to go, oh, see, the Kozak one came in. Maybe it just needed some more time. So that's good. So it did work. It just took some time. All right. Now, dragging and dropping PDFs. I have a folder with a whole bunch of article PDFs here. Some have some titles, some do not. I'm just going to click on, I'll do this one. Instead, see if it matters if I drop it. Kozak showed up there. I'm going to drop this one. There, it looks like it's uploading and generating the metadata. So there's the one that I just dragged and dropped. It will automatically put the one that you put in at the very top of your reference list. And you can also go over here and click on unsorted to see what was, or click on recently added to see what was recently added. So apparently I also added one from more. So again, I'm going to go to where I had the most success. I'm going to go to all references. I will open the folder, click on the file that I want to add, and drag and drop it. And this one is from Pautassa. Can you drop a file folder from your computer with all the references that belong to the same collection? For example, a file that has references on glaciation. Absolutely. So I'm doing them one at a time. I could select them all, and I could just drag them all at once. And if you see, I've got 4 showing up, and it would actually bring in all 4. So I'll go ahead and do that so that you see what that looks like. It's created some duplicates in here for me because that's what was there. I can identify them by going over here to duplicates. And I can say, oh, okay, I want you to, let's just have a look at this. Which one do I want to keep? I can actions. I'll move this reference to trash. This one is another one, how to write a literature review by Pautasso. And that one, I will move the reference to trash. So you can deal with duplicates that way, or I can go to all references and have a look and just delete the ones that I'm not interested in. Something else you should notice is that if I kind of move my cursor over here, we've got files. So anything without a file doesn't have a PDF attached. This just means that the files are available for me to download from the Mendeley website that they're synchronized with. So hopefully that answers your question. Okay, next. That's dragging and dropping PDFs. The other way that you can bring in references is to import references manually. This is kind of ugly, but there will come a time when you have a book sitting on your desk in front of you and you just want to enter in that book information. And you might not be able to find it on the web. Maybe it's an older book or something like that. And you need to be able to add in a reference manually. Again, I'm going to go over here and look at examples to try. And I'm going to add in this book by Hackshaw so that you can see what it looks like. It's a whole lot of copying and pasting, and it's a little bit annoying, but that's all right. So you go up here to Add New in your Mendeley Reference Manager. Click on Add New. You are Add Entry Manually. And here I'm going to specify the reference type. It defaults to journal article because that's what most people are using it for, but I can go and add in a book, and it will adjust the fields that I need to enter. So now if I go back to my browser, I'm just going to grab the information because I'm lazy. I'm going to copy and paste that content in, and I'm going to say Shaw, and it's asking for last name, first name with a comma in between. So it's best to give it what it's looking for. So Hackshaw, AK, Hackshaw, comma, AK, year. Let's see what that year is. 2011, and I'm going to grab the publisher while I'm here. Copy. 2011. I'm going to put in the publisher, Wiley Blackwell. Get the idea. West Sussex. And there. And then just click Add Entry, and it will show up. And here I've got Hackshaw, and I can click on information. And if I need to edit this at any point, so this is on grant writing, I might want to add in a tag here, grant writing, so that I can find it quickly again. So this is grant application or write a grant. What I can do then is I can click on my references, and yes, I know it's at the top. I can do grant rating, and it will just show me this one. So that's how the tags work in this environment. All right, let's see. Next way to get content in. This isn't ideal. When it's working, the Mendeley Reference Manager or Mendeley Web Importer works the best. So trust me, it will work. If you're persistent with it, remove Lean Library and then reinstall it. You should be good to go. All right, next. So the next way to get references in is to export references from an article database. This could be any one of the databases that we have here at the University of Manitoba Libraries. You can certainly use them to export large groupings of RIS of citations. This is often done if you're looking at a large volume of articles, usually for a systematic or a scoping review. If you need to do this, it's probably best to talk to a librarian because each database allows you to export things in RIS format differently. So you don't really need to learn it now until you actually need it, but the instructions are available on that guide. So if you want to track that down, you can click on example to try, or from the Mendeley workshop guide, you can go here where it talks about importing references from an article database. I'd like to move on and get to the most important part, well, not the second most important part, is how to organize your references. So if you're going to use reference management software like this, you are going to end up with hundreds if not thousands of citations potentially, based on different projects that you're working on and so forth. You need to think a lot about how to organize what's in your Mendeley library so that you can find what you need when you need it. And one way of doing that is organizing with, I've implied it by now, collections and sub-collections. So if you look in my panel here, I've got a number of collections already. I'll just expand them so that you can see what it looks like. I've got a collection for my work. If I click on that, I've got one specifically for librarianship, and then I'm also interested in learning about bibliometrics. So I can click on the bibliometrics one, and it gives me information about that, or collaboration, or collections, and not to be confused with Mendeley collections, it's something different. So that's how they work. Mine are kind of based on broad themes. So I've got one for personal stuff. I'm a genealogist, so I put all my genealogy information in there. I've got one for work, and again, based on different themes. But whatever you do, create one that works for you. To create a new collection in Mendeley, all you have to do is literally click on this text here where it says new collection. It's in italics. And I'm going to do 000 training. You can use numbers, you can use words, but make them meaningful to you so that you can very easily click through and find what you're interested in. To get things into one of these collections, I'm going to go to my unsorted, and I'm going to grab all of these, and I'm going to put them into my training collection. And to do that, I can specify the ones that I want and be very particular about what I want to include in this collection, or I can select them all just by checking the box. And then down here, it tells me a bunch of things. One, I've got 6 references selected. Yep. And then I've got this Organize button. If I click on the Organize button, I can add it to a particular collection or a bunch of different collections if I want to. I'll click on Add to Collection, and then I have the option of specifying one or more collections for me to add these citations to. So I'm going to just add everything into my training collection and click Add. And I'm going to go back to my slide. Now, you can have a collection like I did. I've got 000 training. You saw that. You can also have sub-collections. So while mine is still working away, what you may or may not have noticed is that next to each collection, if I hover my mouse over it, it gives me a 3-dot menu. Okay. If I click on that 3-dot menu, I can also click Add New Sub-Collection. So I can create that hierarchical structure that you saw with my work collections. So say, for example, maybe you want to create a collection for a particular course. So you might call it Nurse 7340 or whatever. And then within that collection, you'll have maybe midterm paper or final paper, or even better yet, label them, final paper on X, whatever it is. So be specific about what might be contained within those sub-collections, and that way you can keep everything for a particular course, class, or paper together all at once. Something else I've seen people do very successfully is also use the idea where, okay, I'm going to have a title of my paper that I'm writing, and then in there I'm going to have sub-collections for yes, no, maybe, and to review. And all of the citations that you haven't reviewed yet or read yet, you put into to review. And once you've decided you're going to use them, you drag them into or add them to the yes collection for that particular sub-collection for that particular collection. If you know that you're not going to use them, then include them in the no collection. I like doing that because then if I see a reference, and I've read this before, I know I've read this before, I even keep the stuff that I don't use in my citation management tools. So that could be something to consider as well. It's just another method of organization. But whatever you use, do it consistently. All right. Okay. All right. I already covered adding citations to collections or subcollections, regardless of the fact that it didn't work well for me. It should work perfectly well for you. Ooh, question. Okay. Wonder if I can do it here in Mendeley. I'm in my browser. Notice I've switched from my Mendeley desktop into my browser. I wonder if I can do it here. Organize, add to collection. Maybe within the browser, it's going to be better for me. Ha! Look at this. They've moved from unsorted, and now they've moved into training. So that's exactly what it should do. So maybe it needs to be in the browser environment. Maybe that will be more helpful for me today. Okay. So the next most important thing is editing your paper. The real benefit of citation management tools like Mendeley comes into play when you're editing your own paper, and you need to include in-text citations and a bibliography in a very particular style. Okay, I'm going to go over how to do this, and very simply put, once you have the Mendeley Cite plugin for Word installed, you will find it under your References tab, and then you should see something that looks a little bit like this. So this is my Word document. So normally you would see something that looks like this when you open up your document. Yes, that's written by ChatGPT, so completely ignore it. This is just for fun. To get to the Mendeley Cite plugin, click on your references. All right. Here's Mendeley Cite. The first time you click on it, it's going to prompt you to log in. So I will let it log me in. Because I've done this before, it will recognize my user ID and password, and I don't have to get really creative with it. So how can I find what I want? I'm going to go and use all the citations from my training collection. I've got a number of them here that I'm going to include in this particular paper. It's very simple. All I have to do is put my cursor where I'd like the citation to be. This is the in-text citation. I'm going to check the citation that I want. It's going to show me a little bit about what this looks like. And then I'll click Insert Citation. Okay. Now, this is in APA style. I've decided that I don't want APA style, and for APA style, my citation's in the wrong location. My period needs to be after this. So I'm going to change my citation settings from the APA style to, I'm going to use the American Medical Association style. It's what I use most often at work. And it's a numbered style. So how many of you, just kind of a show of hands, have tried to use a numbered style and done it manually in Word, where you have to change every citation every time you add it in? I'm just going to look down at my chat and see. Feel free to chime in if you've had to deal with that. I'm going to update my citation style. Yes, annoying, right? And then always that numbered citation style, it is so difficult when you add in additional citations, right? It's impossible. So with Mendeley Cite, let's say, for example, I've added in my citation here. Actually, I'm going to bring back my Cursor Pro because it works really well at highlighting things, especially when I'm looking at things like this. So I've added in a citation here, okay, to a particular document. I'm going to go in front of that, and people are screaming in their heads, no, don't do it, don't do it. Okay, I'm going to add a different citation, and I'm going to insert the citation, And look what's happened. It's changed the number. So my first one was here, and it's automatically updated my numbering. So how awesome is that? That's the first best awesome thing about Mendeley Cite. Once I'm done adding in citations, or sort of kind of done adding in citations, I'm going to just add in a reference list at the bottom. And to add in my reference list, I go up here and click on the three dots. And from here, I click on Insert Bibliography. And it says your bibliography will be inserted at your cursor location. Yes, exactly what I wanted to do. And then OK. And now, I'm just going to close Mendeley Cite for a second here. Look at all my lovely, properly formatted citations, done in the correct style with the numbering system set up exactly the way it needs to be. It's awesome. So if I wanted to add in, I'm still writing, I've made a change, I'm going to add in another citation. It defaults to the last collection you were working on, so I can change that if I wanted to. I'm not going to. I'm just going to scroll down here, and I'm going to add in this citation. I'm going to add in a double citation here. So both those have to be at that location. I'm going to insert two citations, and here you see it's added in the numbers in the order that I clicked them. And if I scroll down to my reference list, there they are. Now, what happens if I do want that APA style? I've changed my mind, I've talked to my professor, and they want APA style. I can then go to my citation settings, change my citation style. I'll select APA, update my citation style, and look at what's happened. It's included my citations and altered them exactly the way I would, or exactly in the correct location of where they should be. Some things to note, the periods are in the wrong place, so I'd have to fix that. I'd have to create a little bit of space in between my text and this citation. For some reason, it seems to really like thinking, there we go. There we go. That I want to put in an emoji, and I do not. But you get the idea. So you can change. There's many different citation styles that are available to you, and you can just pick what you want. And if you can't find the citation style immediately on the page, you can alter that and change your citation style by something else that's available. There is a Mendeley Cite specifically for different citation styles other than the standard, and it will allow you to pick and choose what you want to include in your Mendeley. So there's that. All right, gone through this fairly quickly. The last thing are two final things I want to mention. You can, as I kind of showed earlier, use Mendeley to actually annotate your documents. I'm going to go back up to my Mendeley. I'm going to pick something that already has an annotation on it. And I'm going to click Annotations. You can see where it is. Here, though, if I want to annotate something, all I have to do is click on the file, and it will bring up the annotation window. It does this the exact same way in the Mendeley desktop app, but because my Mendeley desktop app isn't acting very friendly today, I'm not going to do it. But what I can do is then I can alter this and add in some additional annotations. So say, for example, I want to highlight this text. I can go up here, pick the pencil tool. I can say, I'm feeling purple today, or maybe you have a specific purpose. I'm going to select the text that I want to highlight, and it's highlighted. I can also add in, let's see, I can also, ooh, here. This is a formula. I want to, it's kind of hard to highlight formulas. It typically doesn't work very well. But I'm going to highlight a rectangle. So it's going to allow me to pick things like a formula and highlight that as well. Now, if I close it and I click on the article I just altered, I can scroll down here. Oops. Hopefully, oh, it didn't take. Maybe I got too soon and didn't hit save or something, but should save automatically. Okay, nope, it's there. Info, annotations, for some reason they're not showing up, but they should. They should show up in purple here. I've got 3 yellow annotations, and they should show up in here. So maybe it's just my Mendeley being slow and the web being slow. But what it should show me is a box with the formula in it, and it should show me the actual citation or actual text or quotation that I highlighted. And it should show up there. I've added in a bunch of comments here and some text that I've highlighted, and that shows up as well. If I wanted to, and I wanted to find something, say, for example, I wanted to find this comment, I could click on it, and it will automatically display the comment and open up to that page, and I could review it and go back. So it's annotations very, very quickly. There's a lot more to annotating. And for me personally, what I like to do with my articles is I like to read my article and then create a comment and say why I liked it and what purpose I was going to use it for, any information about that written in my own language, what I think, what aspects or different parts of it I would use in the paper that I'm going to write, and I will save that information. So that's annotations. And then the last thing I want to bring up is cost. Okay, so free Mendeley account gives you 2 gigabytes of personal storage space on the Mendeley server for free. There may come a time when you butt up against that 2 gigabytes of personal storage space. And then you are charged. There's different plans that you can apply to and get. But for the free plan, most people, if you're doing a major, doing a thesis that maybe involves thousands of citations, maybe you won't have enough room, but most people find that they have enough room to make the free plan work. If you're a faculty member, you're probably going to want to use some of that travel and expense account money to maybe get unlimited personal library space because you're going to be doing a lot of writing and preparing for coursework. So that's something to think about and consider when you're using Mendeley and its free account. Before you go, it would be super helpful for me if you clicked on and did a workshop evaluation. I'm going to pop this into the chat. And before you go, please give me an evaluation. I use this to alter my sessions. Please don't hold the technical problems against me, but I understand if it impacted on your enjoyment of the session. Please use the researcher workshop guide. We also have a great, if you're kind of on the fence about whether or not you want to use Mendeley or want to shift over to something else, our library citation software information page gives you information about 2 other softwares that we support. You can also email your librarian or make an appointment. Oh, you're welcome for the bit about numbered citation styles. They're so difficult. I am willing to take any and all questions. I've only got a couple minutes left, but I will be happy to stay for as long as people who are on the call want to stay. I have time in my schedule, so if you don't, you are absolutely free to go. My last little thing here is you can contact me if you have any questions or you're struggling with Mentimeter. Please feel free to contact me directly at carol.cooke@umanitoba.ca or pop your link in your question into the chat or unmute yourself, and I will do my best to try and help you.